Good day, good morning, and good evening, Commanders. Part 2 of our Mount River analysis is here. In the last video, we covered the better side, now on to the worst one. Welcome, Commanders. Hope you've been well, and welcome to the worst side of Mount River. Last video, we talked about the better side, how they want to use and exploit their map advantage, and where they want to attack and win the middle. For the worst side, in generally you play the same way. Like we said, most of the play on middle is defined by this field here. However, this is not all of the play for the worst side. The worst side also wants to play for this and can also has some ideas to attack on the left. So let's take a look at it. On the left here, for Alpha and Papa, in general, I want to start by taking this forest early. This will make it easier if things, don't go so well in the middle. This will make it easier to rotate and then attack Alpha here. So, yeah, Alpha. So, in general, like I said, early on, I like to take this. You can have an FD unit backed up with some recon fire support, moving up, and you'll be able to take this most of the time. I end up taking all of it, usually around the second minute of the game. The next thing you want to play for is also this and this. See, now this position here in the middle is very crucial. We talked about it last video. Basically, if we'll call this the red side up there, that is the red side. So if red here gets this building, they don't get that much from it. They get decent stuff from it, as you can see, but they don't get that much from it. Whereas if we, so if you take a look, what red sees from that building is basically that. But like, we don't even have to play there most of the time. We can play here, we can play here, we can play here, and we can play here. So you see they do get a lot from it, but like they don't get that much. Whereas if blue meaning our side here, the worst one, if blue gets it, let's take a look. You see how deep it goes into the enemy position. If blue gets this, they overlook the entire area of play for the entire red side. So blue definitely wants to get this early on. As blue, fighting for this is crucial, and you get to it easier than red does. For red to get into that middle position, they have to charge over this, well, as you can see, open field, whereas you as blue can use this piece, my bad, you as blue can use this piece of cover to sneak up and then get into this building. Of course, you can also go from here and straight up just go like this, or like we said before, like this. Literally, you just have to get creative, but usually blue can get this position really easily if they play it nicely. Whereas red has to kind of go over this open space to get it, and blue can just, well, go using this forest here. So this is why blue has still some play here, and blue has to play a bit more, in my opinion, on the left, but still a big part of the play is on the right side. But let's take a look at one more thing for Alpha. Attacking Alpha is very easy if you take the positions we just talked about. If you recall from any other video that I talk about a vertical and horizontal defense, but there's also a vertical and horizontal offense, attacking from all sides, making it impossible for the enemy to like effectively counter you. The enemy here in this situation is just being attacked from all sides, and whatever tanks they bring up to deal with you, they're constantly gonna get side-shotted because, well, you have the two-pronged attack from both sides. So, if you take these positions, you can be assured that your zone Papa here will never fall, but you can also be assured that the enemy's zone Alpha can be easily taken if played well. So that is where some of your play is also generated. Again, if things go bad in the middle and if things go bad on the right, you can still have some play left over by taking this position if you secure the positions we talked about early. But also, the enemy taking the red taking middle here is really like damn near impossible if you have this position and this and this. Like if you have this, the enemy's just gonna be running into like nothing, and he's just constantly gonna die to you. So keep that in mind. All you need to do to hold the middle is just hold this, have this, have this, have this, have this, have this, and then you have this both horizontal and vertical defense, and no one's breaking that. So that's kind of the idea. Let's go over it one more time. The early positions that you want to seize, your priorities, this, well, let's say that this is your first priority, this is your second priority. These are positions that you want to take early on, and these are your priorities that you want to attack early on and get them in the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Usually this you can get it in 2 minutes, and this can either fall in the exact same amount of time or can go on for like 5 to, well, I'd say 10 minutes, but usually I end up getting this in 5 or maybe even less. So we've cleared the play in the middle. But again, I think most of the play, in my opinion, still most of the play should be on the right side here. Because the right side decides who gets these two reinforcement roads to X-Ray. And they are the roads of life for X-Ray. Since both sides, if you take a look at these reinforcement roads, both sides cut off each other's reinforcement roads. So you're just kind of stuck in this stalemate of X-Ray with logistical challenges on both sides. So getting these roads of life is extremely important. So that's why most of the deciding fight for X-Ray is actually on this side of the map. So fighting for it, like we said when we were talking about this side, the idea is to seize up to this city, and if you can, keep pushing. If you can't, just stay and secure it, and then rotate your units to the left and take X-Ray. So that's basically the plan about it. How will we go of achieving this? Well, we start with FD, in my opinion. FD, we can split it like so, and I get it up to there, or possibly even further up, justified with a BO. If you're gonna go this far up, you need to first see if anything can kill you on your way there, and if it can, well then you can deploy early. But if you want to go aggro, that's hard to go aggro. Back it up with, obviously, recon fire support, recon fire support, whatever you can find. So you see we have a Genie Vercaner also deploying here to, well, if there are more infantry in this town, simply having one KCT, 4-man KCT squad isn't really that enough, even if I have the CNVs here. So I'll take a Genie Vercaner squad so I can back it up and have 2 good squads here. Kick out any infantry. And also infantry squads are really good at seizing space. So you can take later on space when you're attacking this zone, and later when you're rotating with all of your units to the left. So yeah, basically this kind of plan of action, obviously backed up with tanks, AA, more infantry, IFVs and stuff. For the middle, usually you'd see me go for a KCT up here, because some enemies like to be very aggressive and like to take this early on and deploy for it. So we need to stop that, because if they get it, it's hard for us to get it. So basically, who gets this first, it's easier for them to hold it than for the other side to push it. That's how it works. So you want to be the one who gets this first. So I'll have a KCT going to here, stopping anything that is trying to come down this road. I'll have a KCT either to here or to here, or to here. Here if I'm feeling defensive, here if I'm feeling aggressive, or rather, first I'd deploy him here and then I'd push him up. And here if I'm feeling defensive, if I feel like my enemy is going really heavy FD and he's gonna completely kick my ass if I decide to fight him, I go a bit defense, and then I start bringing up my M113s and my fire support and my tanks, and then I can start dealing with this eventually, right? Does that make sense? So yeah, like we said, the KCT here, KCT here if we're going defense, KCT here if we're feeling a bit more aggressive, obviously justified with a BO, and I like to have a third BO straight up go and suicide over Alpha and Papa to check if our enemy stacked it. If our enemy stacked it, alright, we'll play defense, a bit. I usually like to deploy an FD unit to about here, because as you can see it overlooks all of this basically, and it has nice some area denial, and you can pull him back if need be if your enemy's shooting you. Depends on the type of playstyle you want to do. If you want to be a bit slower, you don't have to, but I could place a KCT potentially up here and then back it up with M113s obviously. Now usually I'd like to do some weird pathing, because if I just do a quick hunt order to here, chances are the AI is gonna path them over like this, like this, like this, like this. But I'll take the longer way because I don't want them to get spotted. So I want them to go the sneaky way, right? Doesn't that make sense? So I usually sometimes do this. Well, most of the time I do it actually. Depending on what you want to do, you can choose to or not to. So this is basically how you're trying to seize these early positions and seize this early space. You want to have FD going to the middle, backed up with recon fire support, fire support. You want to have tanks on the right, infantry, FD, recon fire support, and you want to take the early town, and then you want to play for it in the middle game. If you can get this in the first 5 minutes, you're golden. You're actually golden. If you can get this in the first 5 minutes, you can almost be assured that you're gonna win this game. Like, all you have to do then is just rotate your units to X-ray, take X-ray, keep going deeper, and then rotate all the way to the left. And this is how you want to play it. This is how you're gonna make your opponent surrender, because there's nothing, genuinely nothing they can do once you've taken X-ray and once you've taken this field. Once you've taken this field, it's over. Like, whoever gets this, if they can't get it back, it's over. And if you get up to here, and if you even push them even more, they're never getting it back. Like, realistically, they're just never getting it back. Because you can also bring out air and constantly snipe them and whatever you want. It's really easy when you know it's really easy to win when you know the ideas of the maps and what to play for. Now in this case on Mount River, to get X-ray, to win X-ray over, you need to play for this. This is what you need to play for. Anything else is just bad. You want to play for this, like we said, next to the field next to X-ray, and if you can, go up to more Lima and then rotate to the left. Create problems for your enemy that they need to solve and divert resources to, because they'll need to deal with whatever is going on here, and by the time that they're kicking you out of Lima, you've fallen back out of Lima, you've secured this, which they will never break, and you've already taken X-ray, and you're on your way to take Alpha, because you've secured the early positions of it. And then you've secured Alpha, you've secured X-ray, you've secured all the way up here. Then it's just about locking down the map. If you do not feel comfortable going for even more and going to end the game even quicker, if you just want to sit, you can sit. If you've done all of this, you can just sit and lock this map down. The bad thing about this map is, if you get locked out, is that it's very easy to lock down. Because if you take a look, if you manage to lock down this map, it is just absolutely impossible to break through, because it's so it's so narrow. It's so narrow. You're basically always forcing a face-to-face fight. And a face-to-face fight while he's attacking and you're defending, you're gonna win a face-to-face fight if you're the one defending and he's the one attacking. So this is why locking down this map is like really easy, and it's also really hard to well, it's damn near impossible if your enemy has a good defense here as red, and if blue has taken all of these positions as red, it's really hard to get back into them because it's locked down. And the map is so narrow, it's a face-to-face fight. You're gonna get smashed by ADGMs, by literally everything. So you're gonna have a very bad time there, and it's just not gonna be ideal. So you need to make the position for your enemy as unideal as possible, and you need to create these types of situations. And like we said, the way to create them is by going to their back line, going to Lima over here, and then just rotating over. And while they have these problems to solve, while they have to solve these problems that you've created by taking Lima. They have to go now and deal with Lima. While they're dealing with all of this, you're straight up just going to Alpha, you're taking Alpha, you've taken X-Ray, and you can then just sit on your ass, or you can keep going to Bravo and create yet another problem that once they've dealt with all of this and they kicked you out of Lima, if you've taken all of this, you can keep going to Bravo, and then they have to go and deal with Bravo. And while they're dealing with Bravo, you can go to Lima, like, and just your opponents can never catch you anywhere because as soon as they are somewhere, you disappear from there, fall back, and then you go somewhere else. And then I'm going back to Lima. They've taken Bravo now, and then they have to go deal with Lima again. And then it's like your opponent, you're playing cat and mouse, but you're the mouse, you're the mouse, the enemy's the cat, but you're a mouse that's bigger than the cat and faster than the cat, and the mouse is hunting the cat. So like you're always gonna outrun your opponent, like wherever you go. Like always, if you're the speedy one, if you're constantly never stopping, never taking your foot off the gas, you're just gonna constantly be where your enemy isn't, and you're constantly punishing him for where he isn't, and he can never deal with it. Because like he's gonna go deal with this. Oh, now you're in Lima. Oh, he goes to deal with Lima. Oh well, now we're in Bravo. Like, and then there's just nothing he can do, and that's how people lose games here. So if you do the things that I've just explained, you're gonna find yourself winning a lot more on Mount River. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, check out my previous video that goes over the better side of Mount River and how to use your map advantage to win. Until next time, Commander.